Hello everyone, this is Cindy Seidelman for Game Show Gumbo, and it's time once again to do one of my favorite things that I kind of enjoy doing nowadays, and that is doing a Tiermaker video, or at least do something interesting. And sorry about my hair, the bedhead and all that fun stuff. This is what happens when my hair is short. I kind of look like a rejected member from a flock of seagulls. Actually, if there was somebody with a mohawk, we could plug right in and be the Legion of Doom. Anyway, with that being said, and even with my hair being a mess, I'd like to do a tier maker on Bob Stewart's game shows. Now, there are some things that are going to be left out. These are Bob Stewart's created shows for his own production company, and they made air, with a couple of exceptions. So you're not going to see any of the shows that he created for Mark Goodson, Bill Todman, and none of the unsold pilots. And 2 sold pilots are not on the list. First of all, Your Proto Beyond, which I haven't seen or heard an episode of. And The Love Experts, I did try to upload a photo so it could be on the Tiermaker, but Tiermaker rejected it for some odd reason, so it's not on here. But if I were to put it on here, it'd be on the decent tier. So going over the tiers, my usual tiers for game shows: classics, buried treasures, decent, and bad. Stuff that would be on game show garbage in the past. Classics, stuff that is adored and loved. Buried treasure, really good games that don't get quite the love. Stuff that is decent, and then stuff that is bad. So just to make things easy, stuff that are classics is essentially the pyramids. These are all the pyramids that from the 10,000, 20,000, both 25,000s, even the $50,000 version, which is short-lived and wasn't that great. Then the classic Dick Clark $100,000 version, even the John Davidson version. Diamond is the pyramid that we saw on GSN was also and yeah, the current Michael Strahan version, which is just brilliant. What more is there need to be said about Pyramid than it being a classic show? Now for one that I think is bad is Personality. It was just bland, boring, and overall not very interesting, despite Larry Blyden having good rapport with the celebrities in the studio. So buried treasure shows, stuff that doesn't get much love nowadays, except for from diehards, is 3 on a Match. One of Bill Cullen's most brilliant shows that he hosted on. There are some episodes out there. I think you have to check Facebook. I think the old game show TV clips guy, is it James Laughlin or something? I forget his name. But the shows are there, and there's about a week's worth of shows, maybe 6, 7, I don't know. But I know that the finale in audio form is on BillCullen.net. Matt Ottinger and Adam Neediff got a hold of that one. And now for something that's just decent. Honestly, Faces Familiar is kind of decent. I mean, it was okay to me, but I never really found it enjoyable. Jack Whittaker didn't do it for me as a host, and neither did the format. It's not bad by any stretch of the imaginations, and I apologize for the ads. It's just, I don't run ad block, and yeah. Especially since I'm using the OBS browser, because, I don't know, I'm still trying to learn OBS. So for one I think is an absolute classic, another one, Jackpot. It's one of my favorite game shows of all time. I will binge watch, if I could, all of the Jackpot episodes, especially the Mike Darrow version, and if I could get my hands on, if there are any more Jackpot episodes from NBC, not including when they changed the formats, because that was awful. The second format of Jackpot was just terrible on NBC when they switched it from riddles to questions because of Lynn Boland's focus group. But even despite that, the USA version / global version in Canada, and even the syndicated version that we saw in 1989, it was just brilliant. As for another bad show, I'm going to go Blankety Blanks. It was like rhyming couplets, and it never did it for me whatsoever. even though Bill Cullen hosted it, but we all can be honest, Bill Cullen did have some clunkers, and Blankety Blanks was it. It just never flowed as much as other great Bob Stewart shows like $100,000 Pyramid 3 on a Match, or even one of Bob Stewart's first game shows, and it gets put in the Buried Treasure section, I Guess. Now, essentially, the format for I Guess was you'd be shown 8 answers, and then for 10 seconds they'd cover them up, and then Bill Cullen would ask you a question, and the answer is you have to select the number that the answer is behind, or if it's underneath none of them, say I guess, and the middle one would reveal the right answer. I just found it loads of fun and really enjoyed myself watching it. So, decent. Double Talk. It's a variant of another Jeff Edwards hosted game show and Bob Stewart produced show, Shoot for the Stars, which I think is Buried Treasure. Buried Treasure, Shoot for the Stars, I should say. The only problem that I found is that in some instances you can get more in the front game than you can do in the end game, and that kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's kind of the same thing that happened with Joker 90. Double Talk, not a fan of it, mainly because Henry Pollock is not a game show host at all. He is not good at that job. But the format does carry it a bit, but it's something I'd probably watch once or twice, and have watched once or twice, but I wouldn't actively seek it out. Chain Reaction, I'll put it in classics, mainly because once again the USA Global version carries today with Jeff Edwards. Also, the classic NBC version with Bill Cullen, even though I don't like the bonus game at all. And then I almost would have stuck in Buried Treasure because of Dylan Lane's version, which is just terrible. But then Mike Catherwood's version did redeem it a bit. So, and also the classic theme. Even though the bonus round in Chain Reaction was bad, it got turned into its own show, and it's actually a really good Buried Treasure. I would check that out. Essentially, a team of 5, 4 are behind and having to ping pong words back and forth to form a question, and the person in front has to answer. And that's essentially the whole game, and it was just fun. Another bad show, I gotta say Winning Streak was bad. It claimed you could win over $100,000, and it was a lie. And also, the format just wasn't that great. And as for another Buried Treasure game, Pass the Buck. A list game show. It's actually quite fun. If you take a look at YouTube and find episodes of that, it is really, really enjoyable. Once again, Bill Cullen hosted. Bob Stewart really seemed to love. There were 2 hosts he really loved to use, either Bill Cullen or Jeff Edwards for his shows. And when he couldn't use both, or he would never use Dick Clark because that's Pyramid. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. However, it's kind of ironic that out of the 3 shows I put in the bad tier, 2 of them were hosted by Bill. If it seems a little scattershot, that's what kind of these Tiermaker videos are, just short explanations and putting stuff wherever you want to put them. Anyway, that's my Tiermaker. If you want to do your own Tiermaker, link is in the description below. And I'm going on vacation for a week, so some videos I will have pre-scheduled, which will be popping up over the course of next week. But I'm on vacation. See you next week, and see you in March. Till next time, bye everyone.